next up, number 6 of 6 ways we're implementing 10x is easier than 2x into our businesses. And it is this concept of always being the buyer, not the seller, that they talk about in the book. And if you haven't read the book, I'll explain what that is. But this almost completely derailed my business this year. So the idea of always being the seller, not the buyer, is every situation that you go into, it's essentially you're ready to walk away from it. You are making the decision. And so even if you are the person who is selling something, if it doesn't fit right, it doesn't feel aligned, whatever it is, you're able to walk away. Now, that's hard to do when your business is struggling or small or income is down, or I think all of us at some point have taken on work that we didn't necessarily want to because we needed the money. But I've tried to apply this to my business in almost every situation before it happens. And so my family took this trip of a lifetime this year. We traveled for 6 weeks and we went to Japan and we went to Australia. And one of my goals is to show my kids the world. I was born in Japan, hadn't been back since I was 4 years old. And so we finally got to go and do this trip. Well, it got to the point in the trip planning where it was just too much to keep track of the finances and how much we were spending. And we just said, let's go have a good time and we'll figure it out when we get back. And we did, and we had an amazing time. And then we got back and then we looked at the bank account and then I just went, oh my gosh, I got to make some money. And so I started thinking about new types of clients that I could work with and new offers and just anything that I could offer. I'd look at what other people were doing. I'm like, oh, they're getting paid a lot for that. I could do that instead of focusing on, what I'm good at and what I'm doing. And I immediately just spiraled into being the seller all the time and just being willing to say yes to anything. And I finally took a deep breath and went, wait, I know how to make money when I need to make money. And I stepped back after it wasn't instant. I got on sales calls, which I hated and got uncomfortable with, all this stuff. But I took a step back and just focused on, okay, what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? Who do I want to work with? And eventually things, caught up. And I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change the trip for the world. The trip was amazing. But it is so easy for us to fall into that. And so what I do now, and I encourage you to do as well, is everything that you're looking at, it's essentially saying, hey, do I really want this? There may not even be money changing hands. You just say, do I really want this? And you are the buyer in that situation. And I think that can go a really, really long way.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And I know for me, when COVID took my business out, and it was very successful prior to that, and it was almost instantly overnight that my income dropped to almost zero. It was very scary, and it was very easy to want to fall into this. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And there's a time and a place where it's okay to, take the opportunities that come your way. But for the most part, if you're operating from that place regularly, if you're operating from this fear of, always needing as opposed to what is the greatest contribution I can bring, it really does hinder your growth long term. And I think the biggest thing is that it's going to make you afraid to take the risks or really go forward with the transformations and the identity shifts that you really know you want, but that you are afraid to do. So, Jerry, I think that's so wise. And I'm so glad I got to watch you go through this process. And from the outside, everybody else can say, oh, Jerry, what are you doing? Like, just do more of what you already do and love. Like, what to do, but you can do this. We believe in you. You can, and you did real fast. It wasn't like you stayed there a long time, but it was just like, okay, you got this. You don't need to do this. You can. You don't need to do this.